Hello and welcome to my video where I'm covering the Rumble stage and my predictions as part of my MSI 2022 coverage. If you've been following along with my channel, I have done previews of all the teams and then, covered every game, giving you the notes of what happened, doing my predictions, ranking the players, things like that. Here I have the teams 1 through 6, their predicted records, and a player to watch. I'm going to go over each team, why I think they are where they are. Subscribe to the channel if you like daily League of Legends content. I do something every day. Excuse me. Yesterday, I did a video where I covered the 5 teams that didn't move on, what I liked, what I didn't like about them, because I hadn't seen them play before this tournament. As well as, Mondays I do news and notes where I cover the things that happen in the major regions. I started doing CB Lull this week as well because I have a large Brazilian contingent of subscribers. If you are from a smaller region and want me to cover your region, make your voice heard. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. Not necessarily, I guess I said it in a weird way, but, if there's not a lot of people interested, I'm not going to cover it. So, Rumble stage. T1, RNG, I both have 9-1. I think they both could drop a game feasibly against each other. RNG, I think, could lose to G2 as well. I don't know if G2 really has what it takes to beat T1. But, people are going to say, oh, well, you had G2 losing games in groups and they didn't lose any. And I'm going to be like, yeah, well, if you think NA sucks, then it doesn't matter that you went 8-0 and beat NA 4 times, does it? You can't have both ways. Either NA is decent and you were really good, or you beat a bad team 4 times. So it's up to you to decide that. But we'll get to that. So T1, Keria, I think Keria is making everything happen. His Pyke is disgusting. Everything Keria plays is disgusting. He's a great player, probably the best player at support and maybe the best player at the tournament. He is just the facilitator. Nothing goes on without Keria involving himself for T1. And I think he's the difference maker, especially against RNG. I think he can be a difference maker. When it comes to RNG, I think the solo lanes are where their advantage lies. Bin is very good. I think Bin is the best top in the world when he is on, and I believe he's better than Zeus. Xiaohu is doing more than Faker is. Faker has been solid. There's nothing to complain about Faker. But Xiaohu has been a very, very big facilitator for RNG. I've said during my videos, during MSI, I lean towards the facilitators more than the guys that put up big numbers. I don't care about big numbers. I care about who is making things happen. And Xiaohu is making things happen. He's going in the side lanes. He's roaming. He's counter roaming. He's counter ganking. He is what is making RNG go. Very, very good player. People are going to look at the Gala pentakills and say, oh, look at what Gala's doing. Xiaohu is the reason they're ahead to be able to set those pentakills up. Let's I got to be real about it. RNG, and Xiaohu is looking really good. G2, I think G2 could take a game off of RNG, like I said. Here I have them 6-4. I could see them going 0-4 against those two teams as well. I could see them going 2-2. So 7-3 is reasonable. I feel like if you do believe they could finish 7-3, 6-4 is where I have them. Caps, Caps' outplays inside lanes have been great. Him and Targamas are definitely the 2 players making G2 go. Broken Blade's been solid. Yankos has been okay. He's just going with the flow, I think. And Flackett is going with the flow. I've had a lot of people tell me that, Flackett is better than what I give him credit for. But watching the games, I just think Flackett is along for the ride. The team's already ahead, and then Flackett deals damage at the end. And some 80 people think 80 carries should only do that. But when you compare him to 80 carries that make things happen, like Guma or Gala at times, Danny at times, at least domestically, which we'll get into why I think Danny is not doing well at this tournament. And even Shogun on Saigon Buffalo. I think Shogun has honestly proven to be a 80 carry that arguably, I think, when push comes to shove, Shogun definitely has more aggression than Flackett. And, they're different kind of 80 carries, so it's hard to compare them. But I think G2 are definitely ahead of EG. No contest. EG have not shown up at this tournament. I think the young players have struggled. Vulcan has been exposed. I think Vulcan, I had him 4th. honestly, I would almost, I think, have him 6th right now. I think I would have him under Kaiwing and Taki. He's played awful. I don't like Vulcan's champion pool. I think that, he needs to work on that. Inspired's definitely the reason EG's doing well. He's 1v4ing on his own team. Like I always say, Inspired is one of the best junglers in the world at getting ahead in his pathing, creativity, predicting what the other junglers are going to do in terms of pathing. And that has value. But if your team around you isn't good enough to take advantage of that, then what are you going to do with it? And then people look at the win-loss or his KDA and say, oh, well, all he does is farm. Well, he gets ahead. And on a team that would have been is decent and has decent laners, that would be really good. But they don't. So JoJo, I hope JoJo works on 80 carry. Not 80 carry. 80 mids. That would allow Inspired to play Lilia more, which I think is a pick that he does well on. I think the Karthus is an interesting pick for him. I think he played Nevelin in group stage. The AP junglers, I think, are where Inspired can get an advantage if they can get JoJo on an AD mid. Now, also, speaking of Danny, ADs and now Danny, the Jinx worked well. Jinx is out of the meta, so it's not a strong pick, but it worked well for him. If it wasn't for a poor macro decision where they took Baron instead of Hextech Soul, maybe they win that game against G2. So, do they stick with Jinx? I really hope they don't. I hope that this past week Danny worked on his Kesa and his Ezreal and Lucian and champions that are being picked in bot, and he picked something that is in the meta. I think that this tournament, he didn't show up. Excuse me, where at least JoJo's shown up okay at times, but Danny has struggled. Danny was choking at times, especially early on in this tournament. His skill shots were definitely off. PSG and Saigon Buffalo, neither team really... Saigon Buffalo gives me more hope than PSG, which is going to surprise a lot of people. I had a lot of people upset with me about my, what the stats said about Saigon Buffalo. So, PSG, get to them first. I think that they're in shambles. If you are pulling one of your 2 veteran players that have been around forever in Hanabi after one bad game, you have problems behind the scenes. I know that they got better towards the end of the group, but, I don't have a lot of faith in them. I don't think that they're playing that well. I think Kai Wing's definitely playing very good on Leona. So, hypothetically, I think PSG could take a game off of EG. I think they could finish 4th. That's definitely within reason. Through bot lane, I don't think Bay has an advantage over JoJo. Bay, outside of Ari, has not impressed me. Juhan, outside of Graves, hasn't impressed me. Hanabi obviously has struggled, and Unified has struggled at times. So, I don't have a lot of faith in PSG. Saigon Buffalo, though, Saigon Buffalo has that aggression that really could throw anybody off on this list. It threw T1 off at first. If they can continue to play aggressive in bot, I think that they have the possibility to take games off of EG or PSG. And with that, I think that there is a world where I think Saigon Buffalo could finish 4th. I don't think it's likely at all. That's why I have them 1 and 9. However, could they go 3 and 7? I think so. I think that originally I had 3 and 7 there, but I was like, I don't really think T1 and RNG are going to lose more than one game, so I have to figure out how I'm going to do this. And, there's likelihoods, and the likeliest outcome, I think, is Saigon going 1 and 9, but 3 and 7 is feasible. Shogun and Taki are very aggressive. They are very good players. However, we have to keep in mind that they only beat DFM on 2 late game team fights to get out of groups. So did you do it? Yes, you got out of groups. Good for you. But, are you better than EG? I don't know. I don't know if you're better than EG because you barely beat DFM. Are you better than PSG? I think that's a definitely possibility. Hosmid's been good in top. I think Hosmid could definitely push Hanabi. Froggy and Bean J, they're kind of I'm not really noticing much out of them, especially in their group. I really didn't think much of them. I thought Steel played very, very well for DFM, where, you know, Bean J kind of just like, you know, by comparison. So if you watch this video to this point, thank you for watching. Like the video if you like it. Subscribe to the channel. Comment down below. How do you think Rumble stage is going to go? Your predictions. You know, comments, opinions, whatever. I do daily videos. Like I said, tomorrow I'm going to have a power rankings video out where I'm going to experiment with an algorithm, see what people from smaller regions think, because it is mainly gauged to the smaller regions, because I can't watch their games, but I would like to power rank their teams. So we're going to go off of spring split regular season stats for those. So that hurts a team like Saigon Buffalo because they didn't win their region. I'm still working on the algorithm for that, but they didn't win the region. So are they second or top? You know, I don't know. I got to figure out how I want to do that. Obviously, I think it's okay right now. I have to fine tune it because PSG is first, which I think is accurate. And GAM was second, which I think is accurate. So I have to figure out how I want to do it. And I also am doing it for the major regions, so we can look at that too. However, major regions, I do prefer to just do it by the eye test because I watch all the games in the major regions, so I don't need an algorithm to tell me how I think, you know, these teams are playing, because I can see it in front of me, you know, who's looking good and who's not. So if you stayed all the way to this point, you should probably subscribe to the channel. You know, you can put up with me this long. Thank you for watching, and I hope you come back for more content.